So Kyle Larson continues his dominance and becomes the $1 million man in Texas this weekend, and NASCAR fans all around the world take to Twitter and other social media platforms in hopes and prayers that the NASCAR sanctioning body will open its eyes and look towards the bigger picture in the future regarding its racing product. All that and more as we review the 2021 NASCAR All Star race. Coming up now, let's do it. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today is the day. It's that time. I have reached my breaking point and I'm looking directly at you, NASCAR, looking right at you, Steve Phelps, when I say that it's time to have a talk with your fans and with yourselves, because what I saw Sunday, that ain't it, boys. That ain't it. Well, firstly, it was 1,000 degrees in Texas, and we decided to have a June race in the 1,000-degree heat. The All-Star race wasn't that bad. Of course, it started a little later, but I was at the doubleheader on Saturday with the Xfinity and truck cars, which were good races. I actually had to spend most of them not in my seat and under the concourse area because, by God, it was just way too hot. I don't know whose idea it was. I know we've had spring, early summer Texas races in the past, but by God, I was a lobster when I walked out of the track Saturday. Knowing that we couldn't bring coolers in, that was a big bust, but knowing that they're still doing some COVID protocols, no coolers, but they did what they could. They gave us out some water-cooled towels and some ice-cold towels, but trust me, it still wasn't enough. I spent most of Saturday under the fan area because it was just way too hot to be out there. But before we get to the racing and break that down and break down the fan outrage, let's just get a little bit of a review of the overall event. I was actually a little late to the open races starting. We actually had to grab a new Kyle Larson shirt for my girlfriend because she sweated right through her other Kyle Larson shirt that we got the day before. No surprise there with that 1,000-degree heat I spoke on. But like I said, got to the open a little late. We missed the early Chris Buescher spin. I think the Bubba Wallace spin as well. We got there literally right when Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones got caught up in that wreck, and the open races were fun. They always are, to see guys do what they can and kind of risk it all in some sense to try and get into that all-star race. Was it better than the opens of the past? Absolutely not. And we're going to talk about why. We know this package was absolutely atrocious. And I'm a Texas boy. I love Texas Motor Speedway, but I'll be the first to tell you this track is not what it used to be. You're never going to see Jimmy Johnson versus Jeff Gordon in 2011, that unbelievable battle that they had there. You're never going to see that again. But like we said, if you got through the open and got through the multiple inverts and the atrocious format that Texas Motor Speedway had laid out to try and combat the terrible racing that was going to have, Kyle Larson was the class of the field, much as he has been all season. I think William Byron was second best car, and that's really good for me because I was there, as I said, had a great time watching William Byron compete and be strong, as opposed to running, I think, 10th or 11th, what he ran in the playoff race where we went last year. So that was really excellent. Chase Elliott also had probably the third or second best car if you want to argue that he was better than Byron. Regardless, though, Kyle Larson does win after a pretty exciting portion of the race. That was probably the only exciting portion from a casual fan standpoint if you didn't have a dog in the fight. Big 3-wide pass by Brad Keselowski with Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson with about 5 maybe to go after that last segment restart. Now that was an unbelievable pass. That was definitely the best racing we'd seen there in years. Maybe that was the highlight of the night. I was sitting high up into the entrance of turn 1 and got a great view of Chase and Kyle Larson really slowing each other down. And man, it looked like Brad Keselowski was on rails coming on the inside of that turn 4 down into the front stretch where he eventually cleared. But as Clint Boyer said on the broadcast where I just watched, didn't clear himself up into turn 1. But yes, Larson does go on to win after that 3-wide pass. He holds off Elliott and Brad Keselowski to the end, wins his second All-Star race, his second $1 million. Technically, it's his second All-Star race in a row. Even though Chase won the 2020 All-Star race, Kyle Larson was not in that event, didn't have a chance. So technically, it's his second All-Star win in a row. He goes on, he's $1 million richer, and you got to be happy for him. I like the guy. He's an obvious wheelman. He can drive anything. He could probably drive my mom's Nissan Titan to a victory in NASCAR. I mean, he is just the bee's knees when it comes to racing. He can hop in anything, any equipment. I mean, he was making that 42 car look as good as it did, and I know everybody thought, well, maybe he's just outrunning his equipment. Maybe he's that good. There's absolutely no doubt now. Even with the bad package, you can't hold that against the man. You can't hold what NASCAR is making him drive against him. He's driving it to the best of his ability, and he's coming home $1 million richer because of that tonight. Okay, now that we got the excessive heat out of the way, we've got what happened during the actual race out of the way, it's time to get to it. What's got people around the world outraged, what's got NASCAR fans all around the world with their arms up in the air screaming, "Why NASCAR? Why Steve Phelps? Why?" Because I have never been so disappointed with being at a racetrack live in my life. And it's just, you can't have that happen. It's, as a NASCAR fan, yes, it was fun to be there and to be around the people again, and just the environment and the excitement was fun, but the racing was terrible. I remember what All Star races are supposed to feel like. I remember when Jeff Gordon was told by Steve Letarte in 2009 to keep his foot in it because they went 3 wide through the front stretch at Charlotte and it was not fitting, and nobody was going to lift that throttle for the other person, and they were going to go all in for $1 million. Drivers absolutely had no choice. They had no chance. They were constantly with their foot down all the way, and it didn't make a difference. The only way you were passing anybody in this race is if the guy in front of you had to crack his throttle. And oh my God, that is not what racing is, ladies and gentlemen. That was sickening to watch. As a William Byron fan who wanted him to win that race, it was so hard for me to watch. I think it was that fourth segment maybe, where he got the lead early, and Kyle Larson was absolutely, positively, no doubt about it, faster than William Byron for, I think it was 12 straight laps, right on his bumper every step of the way. I couldn't believe Larson didn't get by him. But why couldn't he get by him? Because they're both going full throttle in the same car through the same corner, and all it takes is William Byron to have to run exactly where Kyle Larson is, and that is not good racing. Got to give a big shout out, and if you don't follow him, you need to go follow him, subscribe, like his channel, watch his content. Real rad man. He gave me the inspiration I needed to make this video as a content creator for NASCAR. He holds no bones. He gives you his honest opinion, and he knows what racing is and what real racing should look like on that screen. And boys, it wasn't it. Yeah, it looked good at times when guys were racing side by side and another car would come flying by, but that's just because the other two guys were having to be out of the gas because they were racing side by side. And just like maybe with Brad Keselowski on that last hoorah for the win in the final stage, comes flying down on the inside, looked like the car was on rails through the inside of 3 and 4, while Larson and Elliott raced on the top and middle lanes. He comes flying under them, and yeah, that looks exciting, that looks great, but all Brad had to do was stand on the gas and let the fact that Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott are side-by-side racing and slowing each other down drag him up to the front and in front of him, where he couldn't even get clear, because you have to literally, like Clint Boyer said, clear up, clear up. You absolutely have to put your car dead center in front of another car and take that clean air away, or you have no chance. And that's exactly what happened. Kyle Larson didn't get that air taken away from his nose. He was able to rifle it right back around on the outside, and that was it. So what's the next step? Where does NASCAR go from here? They're not going to put more horsepower back into these cars. They're trying to attract more manufacturers, whether it be Hyundai or Honda or whatever they're trying to pull. They're just simply not going to go back to those good old days of 850, 900 horsepower where the driver could make a difference in what the car does with his foot on the throttle or not. They're just not going to do that anymore. I think Radman said it best. I think a simple just 650. I think 650 horsepower is fair, just like he said. And maybe just with a medium to low downforce. This high downforce has got to go. These cars cannot be easy to drive. This is the NASCAR Cup Series. I don't care if it makes it easier for smaller teams to put a guy in the car who can drive it that doesn't cost as much money. That cannot happen. Hopefully they listen. Hopefully things change. And hopefully with the next gen car next year that most of this gets put to rest. And Fox. I can't believe I'm even going to have to say this because I was at the race, but oh my God, Fox's broadcasting continues to just be atrocious. It continues to be a joke. I don't understand how they can present a sport like it's not a sport. They're the only company, ESPN, NBC Sports, ABC, CBS, Fox continues to be the only company that presents racing as a joke. And I mean, I can't believe it. They cannot catch a wreck to save their lives. I swear, I read on Twitter from so many people about missed wrecks in the open and cameramen just being in La La Land. I don't understand. And that's something I shouldn't have to complain about, considering that I was at the track. I shouldn't have to complain about the broadcast. But when I see how many other people do, and then I go and watch the broadcast back to try and get some more information and look at it from how the commentators viewed the racing and what they had to say, and get some footage and imagery to try and explain and show you guys how bad the racing was and how you really couldn't lift or you were a sitting duck on a pond. But no, they don't even have good coverage. They don't even have enough video for me to go through and find enough good examples of bad racing, because they'd rather show the fans, or they'd rather show Jeff and Clint having a jolly old time in the booth. And then, speaking of Jeff, I can't let this go, but at one point in the broadcast, I believe during the open segment, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Gordon, during the race, after they came through turn 4, said to Clint Boyer, "Oh man, do you hear that? They're not lifting out of that throttle the whole way around." And he said it with excitement in his voice. He wasn't joking. He wasn't being sarcastic. He said it with excitement and happiness, like it was something he wanted to see. What are you thinking, Jeff? Do not give NASCAR that satisfaction. Do not make them think that this is okay, because that is not okay, Jeff Gordon. I will come down there and I will give you a stern talking to. You're the man and you're the goat of this business, but please do not say that again. Oh my God. But it's all over. Fox's end of the year is done. Thank God we go back to NBC and some professionalism with the Nashville race, because that was hard to watch, and I didn't even watch it. That's sad. That's going to do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting me rant, get a lot off my chest. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my opinions. If you have similar opinions, or if you think I'm a complete whack job who should stop talking NASCAR, comment down below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And thank y'all for joining me. We'll be back soon.